From the Standing Stone Farm Studio right outside downtown Nashville, it's time for the most ridiculous sports podcast in the world. So sit back, relax, and listen as Bobby Butler and Brandon Bond crack open a cold one and talk all things hockey, pop culture, and complain about everyday situations. It's the Pucks Out Podcast on the Penalty Box Radio Network.
Welcome into the most ridiculous podcast of sports and pop culture. I'm Bobby. He's Brandon.
Hey-o.
You can find us on the three majors of social media at Pucks Out Pod. Now let's crack open this cold Mayday beer and let's get after it. As always, Pucks Out is powered by Mayday Brewery, the official beer of Pucks Out Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about the Stanley Cup Finals. It's in the books. We've got ourselves a champion, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. How are you this week, bud?
I am good, man. We had a ballin' time this weekend at the coolest beer festival in town. I'm not sure if they still call it that. I don't care. I will call it that to the end of time. Coolest beer festival in town, man. We had a blast. We let everybody know, what's good with NCAA 25. I mean, we had about 6 random people all just sitting there, grown men talking about a video game that's coming out, and we're arguing about it. You're like, no, you can't start a dynasty with this team. What a great time. Had an absolute blast with you doing that. Obviously, it leads for a tiring week. Pretty exhausting, but fun, man. We had a pretty good time. How about yourself, my friend?
Good, man. I like you said, we had the beer fest. That was a great time. I'm still on dead period, so just it's been nice to get to sleep in these couple days or this week, and stay up a little bit later because I don't have to worry about waking up. My internal clock is still waking me up. But also at the beer fest, it was awesome because any year that I don't drop and break my glass is a good one.
Yeah.
And I think everyone can say that, except for
not everyone
can't say that.
I will tell you this, Bobby. I'll tell you this. If it was baseball, I'm good, dude. I'm good. We've gone 6 years in a row, bro. 6 years, 6 glasses. We are 11 for 12, bro. We are 11 for 12. Okay, so cut a guy a break.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Bobby. Do you still have your Spindrift spiked sign? Yeah, because that was all me, bro. I was like, hey, can I have this? And you were like, oh, can I have? So, come on, I made up for it. And because I was such a hero, you didn't even bring up this part. As soon as I dropped it, most people would have gone away.
Nice,
I made sure I kept everybody back. I let everybody know it was me. I took the O's, in stride. Kind soul that we'd been talking to earlier tapped me on the shoulder, handed me a new glass, Bobby. So did I do that on purpose to show, hey, these are good people here in Nashville? I think that was it. But yeah, I did drop my glass. And then when we got up to the concourse, you were telling everybody about it, of course, obviously. And
you were the first person to bring it up to somebody. Fair enough. Be fair, when we got
fair enough. But they're like, was that what that O was down there? I was like, yeah, everybody heard it in the whole stadium. So famous for the wrong reasons, probably. But it was all good. It was a clean break, pretty close. There was, I was keeping people back from it, and there was a guy that was very dead set on going through the glass, and then looked down after he brushed me off, being like, hold on, sir, hold on. Steps through the glass, and then has the sheer audacity to look at us like we were the ones that just walked through the glass. Like we didn't try to stop him. Like it was some prank we were hiding. Like, dude, you didn't hear the glass break and then this little circle kind of form so no glass got out, Bubba? I don't know, man. It was the most interesting character of the day.
And listener at home, listener at home, you don't have to wonder. Like we all already know it was a boomer that did that, because that's a boomer move.
Oh my gosh! He needed to get there is 50 tables with beer galore, but we were infringing upon his access to get to one of them. Well, and not even completely infringing, just in
His
the most
constitutional
direct
right.
route. Just the most direct route. He could have gone right around us. We were not blocking any tents. It was just the direct access that he wanted. It was not quick enough for him. It was pretty. Everybody was kind of like, what? Like, hey man, they're telling you to and it is surprising that he didn't say anything. I think it's because he saw everybody but you could tell that if it would have just been us there, or he would have felt safer, he would have absolutely started running that mouth about it, dude, for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Let's do a quick fit check, because I know I didn't get you last week, but I think you got a new hat.
A new hat. Got the Natty Bow hat. My birthday isn't for a few days. I've had it for about a week because Stephanie bought it for me and obviously could not wait to give it to me. She didn't tell me about it, which is an improvement. But as soon as the box came, she's like, "You want to open it?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course, obviously." So got the nice.
I'm like that too. Like when I buy a present for someone, I want to tell them.
Absolutely. It's we are both good with that. I don't think that we've ever given each other anything on the actual day of anything. It's like 2 months before our anniversary.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey bro, I got you. Got you a little something." Obviously now you have to stay married to me for a year because I've already bought this gift. Like if you're going to divorce me, got to be after the year for sure. So
yeah. Like, hey, I know we're celebrating New Year's, but here's the next Christmas present.
I'm banking stuff, and like at one point in my life, I'm just going to stop giving stuff. I'm like, I'm actually caught up through 2075, dude. But I did get, but also shirt wise, I got the Auburn, Hawaiian. I believe you bought this for me, my kind friend.
Yeah.
And rocking that, I'm just feeling like it's summer and NCAA is about to come out and, just kind of dreaming and thinking about that. So that's what I'm rocking. What about you? It looks like we're both wearing gifts from one another today. Your Grizzlies hat.
I got the Grizz hat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my Grizzlies hat. It's the NBA draft. I might not love their first pick, but I love the team, so gotta represent. Yeah. And then for sure, I just got a Laverne football shirt on. Awesome. Nothing special. But
let's get this going.
Let's jump in to the news.
Everything you need to know about what's happening on the ice. It's time for news from inside the boards.
We have got some trades. Obviously, a little bit later in, we will be talking about the Stanley Cup Finals. But first, let's talk about some trades because that's our main topic. This is our news topic. Let's start June 25th, which is 2 days ago as of recording. Nashville Predators acquired defenseman Andrew Gibson. When I saw that Gibson name in there, I got a little weirded out. I was like, I picked up Gibson? Really?
John Gibson?
From the Red Wings. Yeah. I was like, okay. From the Red Wings for Jesse Kliskinen in a second round in next year's draft. I guess next year's draft. Yeah, it says 2024 draft. Gibson trade. Yeah. And then June 24th, Ottawa Senators. This is probably the biggest one I've seen in probably the last couple of weeks. Actually, though, I think on the one on the 19th might be a little bit bigger. We'll see. The Sens acquire Linus Ullmark from the Bruins for Korpisalo and Kastelik. I almost said Castellanos. Castellanos and a
to deep left field
in this year's draft. That's going to be June 23rd, the Sharks acquire Edgar Afanasyev from Nashville for Ozzy Weissblatt. Cool name, man. That's a dope name. Only person
that's what we traded
first
for
name on his last name.
We traded for him name sight unseen, dude. This guy? What's up with this guy? They're like, you can't have him. We're like, we'll take him.
The 21st, the Devils acquire Adam Beckman from Minnesota for Gareem Clark. I'm assuming it's Gareem. That is honestly, we've done a lot of weird names. That might be the weirdest one I've ever seen. I feel like if I didn't copy and paste it, maybe it's that weird AE combined word letter.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking
maybe
about?
so. Let me see if I can get us a little bit of some intel on that. You can go over the last one. Probably, I would argue, probably a little bit bigger than the Allmark. But
Yeah. 4 years ago, definitely would have been bigger. Now,
right.
maybe not so.
Yeah.
The Caps acquire Pierre-Luc Dubois from the Kings for Darcy Kemper. Honestly, that's a trade that I just think could be good for both teams. I think it's a pretty even trade for where they are in their career. So obviously, we both agree the PLD trade is the biggest one.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Allmark is. I you kind of said it probably. It's I believe it is Graham. Graham
Okay, that's
Clark.
incorrect. Not you. You.
Yes.
I understand that's how they pronounce it, but they spelled it wrong. The parents
Right.
spelled it wrong.
Yes. I'm thinking he's probably nope, American born. So yeah. American born
Nope,
Canadian
they spelled
professional
it wrong,
hockey
bro.
player. Yeah, nope. Yeah,
I thought for
they
sure it was gonna be like Finland or something.
they messed it up. Yeah, right. Like if it was like some other country, I'm like, oh well, let's not jump to hating on people's cultures. No, okay, you're right. He was American boy. He was born right here. His culture is McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, I would have to agree that it is spelled incorrectly. I think you probably hit the nail on the head. Probably 4 years ago, this is a bigger trade. 2 years ago, this is even a bigger trade. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Olmark trade being a little bigger. First rounds involved. Corpusalo there. I think it's a good move by the Bruins. I think Swayman is definitely a good option, and then getting a first round pick as well. So I think that's probably the biggest trade, but definitely big names involved. Dubois going to play with Ovi, Darcy Kemper going out to Los Angeles. What you do? You know the depth chart situation there in Los Angeles for goalies, Bob?
I don't right now. I've been
You're
still
okay.
digging into this Graham Clark situation.
You're
trying to
trying
figure out what his parents' name are to see how deep this goes. Because his brother's name is Brant, which is a normal name, and his father's name is Chris. So I was like, okay, maybe his parents are like just moved from another country, but his father's name is Chris Clark. No. So
Chris Clark. Yep. So either they loved him and they wanted him to be interesting and he was the favorite kid, or they really hated him and they just like, I want to make his life difficult. Nobody will be able to say his name. I think like it's the way you say it, Graham. I think that's kind of where you landed the first time you tried to sound it out. You were like Graham, and so they're like, so I think that maybe that's it. They like just want people to confusedly say
I think
it
I first said I first pronounced it like Kareem. I said it like Kareem, but with a G, so I said Kareem.
Okay.
Like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem. Okay. Tried to give you the benefit of the doubt, but people listening are like yelling at me. They're like, no, don't you just remember what happened? He was an idiot before.
Yeah, it's auto recording. All right, so let me pull up the Kings and let me pull up their roster.
I've got you, brother. I'm actually already.
I'm not used to looking at the top of the Pacific.
I know. Kemper and David Rittich. So yeah, Kemper probably your guy.
Yeah, I think he's got to be the guy. I'm not a huge fan of David Rittich as a starter. I love him as a backup. Not much as a starter.
No. I liked that year
honestly,
that he backed up in Nashville. I definitely liked that year.
I mean, they had 99 points.
I'm sorry?
They had 99 points last season. I think this is going to be a net positive for them.
Yeah.
I
like that for sure.
I think this moves into a possible second place in the Pacific with a good goaltender back there.
Yeah, man. The Pacific is always all over the place, so I could definitely see something like that happen.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about the Pacific a little bit later on when we get into the Stanley Cup. Let's go ahead and move to outside the NHL.
Now that you know what's happening inside the boards, time for the rest of the headlines with news from outside the boards.
All right, the NBA draft is happening right now. Like, as we were recording, the Miami Heat are on the clock in round 2 at pick 13. So we'll keep you updated when that comes in. You'll probably already know since obviously this is not live. But who knows? Maybe fuck it, we'll do it live one day. But real quick before we get into it, I want to ask you, and we can kind of talk about it throughout, maybe come back to it. What do you think this says about the current state of college basketball that 3 out of the top 5 picks are not from college, not from the NCAA, but from France? 2 are from France, 1 is from the G League.
I'm gonna argue the opposite, that it says nothing about the state of college basketball and everything about
but the state
of NBA influence
basketball?
of the world. Just the world is just getting better at basketball, and also when a lot of these stars that have come out and are doing great right now are the Lukas or the Jokic's, and it's more of like, hey, let's throw our darts and see who can come and translate into that NBA game. That's just my general thought process, knowing that I'm not super huge college basketball guy. I'm not super huge NBA guy. We play fantasy, but in a definitely not in a way and like we play fantasy football, enough to know about it. But that would be my general consensus is Victor Wembanyama coming from France. He's a baller. He's got all sorts of levels to him. Well, these guys are playing in the same arena as him. And so can they come over and translate? Yeah. And it's almost like a, catching up type of situation. They, I believe, Gilbert Arenas, and for whatever you think about Gilbert Arenas, you're probably right. But he kind of talked about like all the stars are European, in the NBA. Not all of them, but a lot of them are becoming European. It's because the NBA has become more like European basketball rather than the opposite, than like hyper focusing on the hard defense and the the tough nose plays, more of the offensive flowing style, free, passing. And so again, take that for what it's worth. And I'm not quoting him, but just that general thought process that it's become more of a European league. But also the world is just becoming and playing basketball more readily, keeping in mind basketball is a very low barrier to entry. It does require a hoop, but you can get a basketball, you can get a peach basket, like literally how the game started. Other countries are intuitive. And so it's you don't have to buy a bunch of equipment. It's a lot like soccer in that way. You have a ball, you got some goals. You only need 1, 2 to really play. So it's, I think that's more of the thought process. Before we get to your thought process on the same question, Rich Paul, that would be sports agent for the Clutch Sports Group, famously notable client would be LeBron James. So I'm guessing who agent he is in this upcoming draft, a little guy they call Bronny James. Rich Paul's warning teams not to draft Bronny James, threatening that Bronny will play in Australia next season if selected. Is Bronny forcing his way to LA? I say you do it, right? You pull the trigger.
Didn't I call this? That Bronny just wasn't going to get drafted. I think I even said that Bronny's just not going to go to the not. And you were like, I don't think he can not enter the draft. Quick update: Nikola Jurassic, taken by the Miami Heat from Serbia.
Nice. But so same thought process that you're asking me. What does it say to you of the state of college basketball? That 5 guys, or it's only 2 of the first 5 guys are coming actually from a college team.
I actually had lined up. I kind of thought about my stuff while where I was writing this up, and I agreed with you that college basketball is kind of still college basketball. I don't think that. I think there are indicators that college basketball is changing. I think it's changing less than college football. But I don't think this is it. I think this is exactly, especially since we're seeing it's not like we are seeing a bunch of different countries. We're seeing a lot of the same countries. We're seeing
France really
Serbia,
dominated.
I'm not sure why Serbia is so dominant. That's a weird one.
Well, Jokic,
but
that's where Jokic is from, I believe. Right? Like,
I know, and I'm not saying.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
I got
I'm
you.
just. I would love to have a case study of what, like, France. France is a major world power. If it was like France and Germany, that makes sense. Serbia is a weird one, and I'll be honest. I teach geography. I thought Serbia was a region of Russia. I didn't know Serbia was its own country.
It was, and don't quote me on this, but it was probably part of the USSR.
Maybe I'm thinking of Siberia.
Siberia, yes, Siberia
Siberia.
is the cold portion. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably don't.
Yes.
Maybe edit that part out for your.
I thought these dudes were just like coming from Siberia.
Getting all the way up to what, like you said, a lot of France, but I want to talk about pick 9, the Grizzlies taking what I find to be a not so great pick in Zach Edey. Loved him, great college player, great guy to watch. Saw him in person play Indiana. So don't hear what I'm not saying. 7'4" monster. If we're playing basketball in 2005, that's a solid number 9 pick. This is a guy that he's going to be gassed a good bit. And I'm not saying he won't make a good role player on an NBA team. I just don't think he's the number 9 overall pick. Hey, I hope again, we're Memphis fans as far as it goes. So I want this to succeed. Please, by all means, make me look stupid. You will not be the first person. I'm not sure. This isn't just me either. He was rarely mocked there. And mock drafts are just guys just deciding. But a lot of these, folks have some insider thought process on this. And it's a very questionable pick to me. I don't know what you think as well. I believe you're kind of in that same boat.
So I'm not. Listen, if I had to give it a grade, I would give it a C-. Yeah. So slightly below average. I'm not going to be an overreactionary like sometimes we are about this pick. Most people are on social media right now and say that this is a fail. I think that they straight up. I did some research. Before this pick, they did not have a single center on the roster at the time. They needed a center. So they knew, and I think they wanted him, and I think he's the second best center. I think the first best center, Donovan Clingan, was taken, obviously. Could you have traded down maybe?
Yes. Okay. That's where I was going to
Who knows?
Maybe the move wasn't there.
I don't think so. I think Indiana would have gotten him. I think you have such a short move span to try and get him. But also, people need to remember that, Yao Ming was a dominant force in this league. Didn't have a lot of longevity. Obviously, at this size, you're not going to have that. However, what Zach Edey does have, while he is a foul machine, and that's going to be an issue, at 7 foot, at 7'4", a 7'11" wingspan, he is more physical than most guys that size. He has good conditioning.
My argument would be,
I think that now his weaknesses will need to be fixed, but this is also a 2-time John Wooden Award winner.
That's a different. It's a different world.
I don't love the pick, and I'm slight.
Your argument literally was Yao Ming. Yao Ming was good in the. And what did I say? I said if this was 2005, Zach Edey would be a dominant player. He can't shoot a jump shot. He can't shoot a 3-pointer. It's not built for today's NBA in my mind. I hear everything you're saying. You're
agree.
Right. And it could work. And there's always changes in the wind. And maybe this is the guy that kind of switches it up. But efficiency and shot taking is king. But I hear what you're saying. It's a draft need. You draft the best available there.
Yeah.
So I don't hate it. I agree with you.
To be for the Grizzlies to be successful in this league now with a guy like Zach Edey, they need to go against the grain. They will need to have a stellar coach that can coach to his strengths, because the fact is he's going to be there to protect the paint. That's going to be his job. He's in there to protect the paint. He's not going to be a shooter, obviously. So if you can work around that and coach around his weaknesses, then I think that it's a great pick. And I think if that is the case, then we'll be sitting a year from now saying, wow, remember last draft? That was a great pick that ended up. But it's going to take a lot of work. They have their work cut out for them as far as making this into a good pick. I think that he is coming in with a blank slate, and that you're going to have to keep him healthy and keep his conditioning high, because I think that the conditioning level, the difference between college and NBA is so vast that, I mean, he's going to get winded so fast at his size. But, and I think he has the muscle mass for it. A lot of guys that that was his biggest issue. He didn't have a lot of muscle mass, so he wasn't able to support those, support his body. So I'd be interested to see. I like it because I like big guys. I want to see big guys thrive in a league that is not big guy friendly anymore to an extent.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, it is big. I don't want to hear that. This league is absolutely big guy friendly.
I'm talking about
who have become ingrained in the league and is able to shoot a 3-pointer. You know what I'm saying? Not all of them can, but you gotta be able to take a little jumper, dude. You gotta I agree with everything you're saying. I'm playing more devil's advocate than anything else. I hope it works. I hope that, there's always swings in sports that kind of change the way the game can be played. So maybe I mean, it's not like he's a useless player. I don't want that to be out there and think, oh, because he doesn't play the exact style that is mainly in the NBA now, he won't be any good. No, that's not at all. It's just, hey, I don't know that I take a guy that isn't potentially transformative at 9. That's more of my thought process.
Yeah. So I will see here, Jeremy Wu wrote here that they seriously attempted to move from number 9. They wanted Donovan Clingan. Donovan Clingan was their guy, and they could not get anything to happen for them to move. So if you're taking a center, then you got to take what's on the board. I mean, you don't want to start tilting when Donovan Clingan's off the board to something else. I think that's a bigger mistake is if you start tilting.
Yeah, it more depends on how far off Kel'el Ware from Indiana went at 15. Were you good with him? You know what I'm saying? Because then you can drop all the way to 15 potentially for somebody else to move up and get their guy. But again, maybe the move wasn't there. We talk about, we'll just move back. Yeah. Well, that other team also has to be willing to move up. So it's kind of just more random talk. I'll tell you, I do like pick 16 and 17. Jared McCain going to Philly, great 3-point shooter from Duke. Also, I think he got called some homophobic slur by Antonio Brown. He's the guy that does all the weird TikToks and stuff.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
You saw. I didn't see what Antonio Brown said. I look at this. This is how sure I am he said it. Never looked it up. I bet you could look it up right now and you can find it. And I love the Lakers.
I saw it today on Twitter. I was scrolling.
So
Twitter
it was
and
there.
I saw it.
Lakers getting Dalton Connect all the way at 17. Love the pick. I think he's going to pair great with Bronny, his new required teammate. He probably won't get to start. Bronny's going to start. It's going to be one of those situations. Bronny starts, plays a couple minutes, and then they bring Connect in. I like that pick a whole lot. Let's see who else we got here.
Yeah, and now we do have to bring up, because obviously we brought up Dalton Connect, that guys, no matter who you're a fan of, your local pro team should not, and definitely cannot take it into consideration, drafting locally. That is this all day, all online, not just a few people, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, or I say hundreds, maybe thousands, not hundreds of thousands of
hundreds of
Tennessee fans. Now that they after their baseball team won the national championship, have this newfound confidence and coming out and saying insane things out of pocket that Memphis is pissing all over the state by not taking Dalton Connect at 9. It's like, what?
Like, what are you talking about?
That's insane. And they're saying the Titans did that, and they said the Titans did that too when they took Will Levis.
You better chill. You better chill, or we're gonna call the hitman for the Grizzlies. Maybe you heard of him, little guy named Ja Morant. Okay, he's gonna bring his gun over to your house and tell you why you shouldn't say these things.
So sometimes being American is super easy when it comes to winning gold medals and things. Right now could be top 10 darkest days of America. America just lost on the world stage at American football.
Okay, yeah.
After
Me and
losing
Sassa talked about
in
this.
the IFAF to Japan.
Hold on. Hold up, everybody. Hold up. Did we really lose, or did the team that we allowed to play American football in some tournament under the guise of the U.S. national team, did they lose the tournament? Because I'm pretty sure we didn't put our best players out there. Come on, what is this? It's not even like American college players get to play in that. This is not our best. This is not our
I'm just reading what's on here, man.
Yeah, it's terrible take.
Terrible take.
I
would assume it's not our best because here's the thing: if it was our best, then we need to start drafting from Japan.
They are imagine the all NFL team in this tournament. Imagine the all NFL team in this tournament. Derrick Henry would kill a guy. Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, lining up on the sidelines, just streaks every play. They're having to do Pro Bowl stuff. They're switching in Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes every play. That's all I'm saying. It's like, what? Did you even know we had some U.S. national football team, American football team? Did you know?
I did.
No.
I did. I mean, because it showed up on my. Well, I knew about it because it wasn't that long that our neighbors to the north had an impressive win against Brazil with a final score of 110-0.
Yeah. It's a joke. It's a joke, Lee.
And I will
it's a joke.
That Canada has multiple teams in this. That was Team Canada 1 against Brazil. They amassed 383 rushing yards compared to Brazil's 17. That is absolutely insane.
Somebody, if they let NFL players play,
110 points.
If they let NFL players play, someone would die, dude. They would. Chris Jones, would rip off multiple quarterbacks' heads throughout the tourney. Yeah. So let's ease up. Let's ease up, buddy.
I like how you even brought up the thing of putting the all pro, like an all NFL team. We could put in the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, or the New York Jets, and they would run this. Run this competition.
We could put in any SEC team. We could put any SEC team in there, and they would absolutely crush. No question. Me and Sass were joking about
Vanderbilt fans,
and
he was so happy.
I was like, "Who's playing for the team?" And he was like Russ, like talking about Russ Wilson. And I was like, "That's so funny because he's bad. If Russell Wilson played, we would drop 100 points a game. Like he's
wait." Oh, I thought he said Russell Wilson was playing in the game. I was like, he
was joking with me. I was like, who even played? Like,
Okay.
And he was like, Russ, okay. No, he definitely didn't because, dude, you could go get Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
And he will win this tournament, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I will say this is the U20. This is the U20s. So, this is the under 20.
Okay, under 20.
Again,
who's under 20? Like Braylon Allen
in the NFL
could have played in it last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we could talk about all these college players that are freshmen and sophomore and definitely under 20.
Yeah, I'd have to look, but that does make things interesting. If we make an NFL team from all people under 20, then
that would be basically impossible. There's never been anybody under 20 years old in the NFL because of the way that their rules work. So that would be impossible.
Bijan was the closest one. Bijan was almost under 20 when he was drafted.
Yeah,
he was.
It doesn't matter. See, the NFL doesn't have an age limit. What they have is you have to have been graduated from high school for 3 years. So if people graduate early and they're out of high school for 3 years and are playing organized football and somebody drafts them, they're good after they've been out for 3 years. So there is no real age limit. So, I mean, he I think Bijan was one of those guys that drafted, graduated high school a little early. So,
all right, let's move on to our main topic of the day. The Stanley Cup finals are done. The Florida Panthers win their first Stanley Cup in franchise history, surviving what was going to possibly be one of the greatest meltdowns in sports history.
Yeah.
That
you
was
would've-
on the precipice of being as bad as the 28-3.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
way worse
Ooh.
because it's a series, 28
Yeah.
to 3 is crazy to give up that lead, but like it's not that crazy because a team got that lead. So if a team scored,
And Tom Brady was on the other
yeah,
side.
right. Well, yeah. What I'm saying, if a team scored 25 more points than another team in a half, well, then it stands to reason that they can score 25
Yeah.
in a half as well. So yeah, a crazy comeback, no doubt. But to do it 3 games in a row and come this close, and could have been argued that if they had if the coaching had a little better strategy in that game 7. I mean, that top line was out there for 8 minutes at least. 8 minutes. It's where it really showed that hockey fan that's like, well, it's the playoffs. Why don't you just play your best guy? No, that's not the way hockey works.
No.
You know, they're like even the best player on earth like Connor McDavid is probably still gassed from that run.
Oh, he was
of
clear.
how long he was playing.
Yeah.
He was falling over. And to me, it's absolutely insanity that you have a guy like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins sitting on your bench for 8 minutes. It's not like those other lines didn't have any success against Florida. Give or take as much or more success overall than a lot of teams did. So it was very, very interesting to me. That strategy. They had a couple of really good attempts at the 6 early 5 minute mark. You let them go all the way down to 4. You pull them for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and they're back in there. 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left, 2.5 minutes left on a full tank. I don't know, man. It just seemed, I'm not a hockey coach. I do spend quite a bit of time at the coach house talking to folks, but I'm not a hockey coach. So I don't know. It just seemed, it seemed like others thought it was poor strategy as well. You just can't, it doesn't matter. I don't care how good
100%.
you are. It's just not feasible in the slightest.
Yeah. I mean, I'm watching it and I'm literally, there's 3 minutes left, and I'm sitting there like, I don't know what they're doing. This line has been out here. Like, you need to sit them, give them two full shifts off. Because they need to come in with like maybe 2 minutes and 15 fresh legs, empty net. Give McDavid and Draisaitl that extra skater. 100%. Let them do their thing. Then you know what? And honestly, I think 100%. They at least take it to overtime because those 2 guys, fresh with an extra skater, can get shit.
They were there. They were there a couple of times. You saw it. You saw it moving. You saw it happening. I mean, you hear about double shifting guys.
And
like,
Bob
okay,
made some great
wow,
saves.
That's crazy. But I mean, you're essentially quadruple shifting somebody, which is I don't think a lot of people realize like how gassing it is to ice skate like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's probably a lot of not obviously the guy that made the decision probably is familiar with it, but like you got a fan in here. It's like, why isn't Forsberg out there? Well, Forsberg has played for 18 minutes this game, bro. Like he's been out there. He's been out there a good bit. And it's like a lot of folks don't really realize that. But what a great series. I
one of the best I've seen in a long time.
Game 7, best 2 words in sports. Game 7. We got a good game 7, which is great. Congratulations to Florida. They put in a lot of work. Also, I think we need to talk about it, Bob. It happened. Conn Smythe to Connor McDavid.
Yep.
And I think that we were on the right track.
And I gotta be honest, you and I both disagree.
We were on the right track
we both disagree with it.
To say Bob should have got it when we talked about it last week and last episode. However, that's before my boy took a 3-game skid and shellacking, and he wasn't arguably the best player in the playoffs at that point. It's, it's one of those things.
But also at the same time, in those last 3-4 minutes, he made 6 or 7 highlight reel saves that saved that game, and I don't think it was enough to get him the Conn Smythe and make up for those.
Well, let me tell you this: voting for Conn Smythe. Voting for Conn Smythe ends after the second period or the second intermission.
Oh,
so no third period overtime forward. So that wouldn't have come into play.
I don't like that.
I agree. Don't like you got to have the time to get all the votes in. You know what I'm saying? You've had 4 series.
Then you know what?
You've had 4 series to get there, Bob. You've had 4 playoff series to get your numbers in. If you need one period of the last
some would say that the most important period of the series, I would say, I think is third period
it's not
of Game
a series.
7 in the final. To me,
that's the difference with the Conn Smythe is it's not a game award. It's an entire playoffs award. Who had the best?
Well, I would say
playoffs.
It's the most important period in all of the playoffs. For those two teams, that was the most important period in a 2-1 game. That's the most important period in all the finals. Now,
for sure.
Fine. Now, again, changing the voting would fix the next problem we're going to talk about, which is Connor McDavid not coming out to accept it. I think obviously, and people should I think they fined him, and
no.
I agree. I don't think if I was him, I don't think I would have walked out to get it.
No,
if we just had a heartbreaking loss.
If they told me, oh, you have to come out here into the middle of the opposing team celebration in order for us to award you the Conn Smythe, I would have said, throw it in the trash can. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I don't want it. I'm not doing that. Like, he's never going to look at it's going to be great. But if he ever wins a cup, this is great that he has this. But if he never wins a cup, do you think he cares?
This will just be a reminder.
100%. 100%. I personally...
The only person that'll care about that is his agent.
Yeah, he'll be able to sell it or whatever. What did he end up with? Let's see. 47 was the record. He didn't beat the record. He finished with 42 points, 8 goals, 34 assists in 25 games. Number 3 on the list. That's where I land. He was so far above everybody else, and he literally took it to the wire. It was one of those that I get it if it wasn't given to him, but I don't think I'm upset that it was awarded to him. Especially if it's true that it ends after the first intermission.
After principle, I don't agree with him getting it, but in reality, on paper, he was the most deserving. I would have a hard time defending it if they gave it to somebody else, to be honest with you. I would do it because I could, but it would be hard. Yeah. I think that goes to show you just how dominant of a force he is. And already, I think DraftKings has released the odds of where Draisaitl will be next year. And I think the leading team is not Edmonton, but the Boston Bruins at 3-1 odds that he will end up at Boston.
I don't think I'd put money on that.
I would not either. I think it's way too early, and I think they're just hoping they'll just get some people.
Maybe he's like I don't know, man. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I get the wrong feeling. I think he just feels like a man on a mission to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think now especially, he sees it can be done. One right turn, one wrong turn, he could have got there. I think he stays, but I could be reading into it wrong. Maybe he's that desperate for a cup. I don't know. I'm very. He's great. It's great to watch him play. I very much look forward.
What changes do you think will be made and what changes do you think Edmonton needs to make? Do you think they just come in with the same group and try again, or do you think they need to make some slight changes to try and get that extra game?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe
the options are limited with how much cap space is being taken up.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the big key is that I don't know what it's a little thin. is all. I think that they do good with what they're able to acquire and put together. But I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It just feels like it didn't feel like the Panthers. It felt like the Panthers had a line out there and they had a guy that was a part of, more than just being a guy that got fed by McDavid and Draisaitl. Zach Hyman had a great playoffs, but we could sit behind the back of the net and shovel in shots that McDavid puts on the money. And I jest. Obviously, you and I couldn't do it, but there is a laundry list of guys in the NHL that could make could do that. So it's a definite thing. I could see him going somewhere else, but you go somewhere else and it all goes down, and you always look back on McDavid goes somewhere, Draisaitl stays there. They use all that money McDavid got. They fill out this roster completely, and then they win a cup. I don't think he could live. I don't think he could live with it. I don't think he could live with it. So I don't know, man.
So here's the thing. Here's the other view. Leon Draisaitl will be 29 by the time next season starts. They have had, I don't know how many playoff runs they've had in the past, span a couple of years. But if they go at it again and they fall short, now he's entering the next season at 30 years old. And
I think with superstar hockey players like
sports,
that,
things change a little bit.
I think that's.
I'm not saying obviously he will be picked up and he will be a starter, but the value, the monetary value of your name goes down drastically once you hit 30. I think he needs.
Crosby's 36.
A decision has to be made.
Crosby's 36. Draisaitl obviously is not a Crosby name. Yeah. But we're talking about a guy that's dropped 100 points. And doesn't have an overly aggressive play style either. Not that he is scared to get hit or anything, but that's not his main mode of operating on the ice. I think they still have them a few years. I'm not. If they decide to run it back, I don't know that they win the cup. I don't know that they go to the cup again, but I could see why you try to give it a shot. I think what they need, it seemed like their bigger problem, and maybe this was just me and how I saw it. It seemed like they need more centermen, not need more centermen, but more of a classic fourth line center guy, third line center guy, or a guy that can go win a faceoff for you. In the most desperate of times, you can put Vincent Trocheck out there and win a faceoff in New York. A guy like that's just that can dig. A guy like Ryan O'Reilly, who is going to win every faceoff that you can get. It's one of those little advantages that the more they have the puck, and again, I don't know the statistics of the faceoff percentages and what happened. It just seems like a piece that's kind of missing out there.
Yeah. I agree. We do have some breaking news real quick that we need to talk about. Out of Los Angeles, a jury in the U.S. District Court ruled that the NFL violated antitrust laws in distributing out-of-market Sunday afternoon games on a premium subscription service and has awarded more than $4.7 billion in damages. The jury ordered the league to pay $4.7 billion in damages to the residential class and $96 million in damage to the commercial class. Obviously, the NFL will appeal this verdict, but this comes after
we get our like $5 or whatever
infighting.
We're gonna get our $5
and this is
when we
after
sign
just
up.
a couple days ago. Yeah. I think NFL announced that the Sunday ticket package through YouTube TV was going to be like $389 or almost $400 or something like that. So hey, maybe that lowers the price, but it probably won't.
Well, because they were supposed to, because like it's the NFL doing it that's making them artificially inflate this price. Like Apple TV wanted to just include it with your Apple TV. like their games.
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah. I
whatever.
know it's the NFL. I'm not blaming
Yeah.
YouTube. Like I
Oh,
know
no,
it's
I
the
know.
NFL.
I was just saying, I think like it's like even
Yeah,
more so like that's why they're getting sued is because like you forced them and like held it hostage when you're the only one that can offer this product. Yeah. So yeah, good.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a little deeper dive into that to get more specifics because I did hear
Yeah.
about that the other day. But it's cool that you brought that breaking, the breaking news.
But-
We're breaking news left and right, dude. I thought you were going to say Bronny got
all right,
drafted.
so,
I
before we
thought
move
you were
on-
like from Los Angeles.
Oh, shit.
It's like Bronny is finally allowed out of the attic. He is allowed out of the attic, so he can go out into the world now that he's officially a property of the Lakers.
Yeah. All right. So before we move on, and we will do some deeper dives in the Stanley Cup Finals and stuff throughout the next couple weeks. We've got a long summer in front of us. Way too early prediction for next year's Stanley Cup.
Okay.
Who do you think?
This is a tough one. The West always feels wide open.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Let me just take a look. Let me take a look. See here.
Okay.
I just can't.
I'm looking at the list right now. I
yeah,
thought I was locked in with somebody.
Go ahead. You go ahead first.
My initial thought, I'm not going to go. I think it's too easy of a pick, and I think that I don't think it's going to happen. However, I'm going to go ahead and say the Los Angeles Kings raise the Stanley Cup next year.
Taking your shot, brother. Taking your shot.
Taking my shot. I'm not going to put money on it, but
yeah.
But I think the Los Angeles Kings.
It's just way too early.
They have a year.
I'm going to go with.
They are a team that I think is definitely going to make it into the playoffs. And once you get in that playoffs, then you make your own destiny once you're in the playoffs.
Destiny is a cruel mistress. And next year, we will have to watch as not only Canada finally get him a cup, but we're going to have to see it go to that gross blue and white team with a leaf on their jersey. I'm going to go with the Toronto Maple Leafs. They not only get over the hump, they unfortunately for us, they also win the cup.
Boo this man.
Hey, boo me. And
why would you put that into the universe?
Because maybe now it'll definitely never happen. I mean, if it happens,
no, because
it's
now
like,
it's too early.
I didn't
so
want
it's
it
like
to happen. I didn't want it to happen. It's a prediction. Okay, you didn't say what do you want to happen for the Stanley Cup next year, Bob. I'd have had a different answer. It would have been, I hope that the Predators win the Stanley Cup. Obviously, Bobby, I'm a biased individual.
Yeah. I'm glad you chose Eastern. So we could have an LA Toronto matchup, which honestly, as far as like the cities involved, that's a dope matchup. Yeah. The reporters are gonna love that.
Tell me Gary Bettman will blow his load in his pants without telling me. Okay, that's it right there. LA Toronto battle.
We literally, and you know what's even better is that we can legit have another Kendrick Drake matchup then at all the games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They better hope that the beef, there. Drake better hope the beef is over. He better hope the beef is over by then. Yeah. He's getting ran through the mud, boy.
Yeah.
You want to know if somebody's fake, Bob? If they tell you, I don't care if you're a Drake fan or you're a Kendrick fan, if they tell you Drake is winning this or won this little tit for tat, they're being dishonest with you, Bobby. Anything you have to reevaluate everything they've said to you and look back on it because they're probably lying. Nobody believes that. Nobody believes that.
Yeah. Josh Giddey might think that, but they go to the same parties though.
That's true. They run in the same circle.
Let's move into our joke. Let's move into our joke of the week.
The weird.
Corey Perry.
See, I don't like that.
Wild.
I think the first read was a good one. Now I'm overthinking it.
Outlandish.
Each sixth chick sat on a stick. Little tongue twister.
And downright dumb.
Kidding me.
It's time for the joke of the week.
All right, you found this one. You texted it to me today or yesterday. What is it?
I'm not going to go with the headline because it's more of just the quote itself.
This was the closest story. Yeah.
Okay. He was essentially asked, as most coaches are, at the end of the college baseball World Series, where Texas A&M lost. You didn't even put it in the news, Bobby, that Tennessee won. That's how bitter you are that they won. You won your little money though. You did win you some money.
Yeah,
Texas A&M.
I'll take my $50.
Texas A&M coach was asked if he planned on taking another job, whatever, if he had any interest in. No, it was essentially he was asked about any interest in the Texas job. This is a quote from this coach, Jim Schlossnagle. Did I say that right? Schlossnagle. Probably a quicker. I took the job at Texas A&M to never take another job again, and that hasn't changed in my mind. That's unfair to talk about something like that. I gave up a big part of my life to come take this job. I've poured every ounce of my soul into this job, and I've given this job every single ounce I could possibly give it. So write that. So the next day, he's introduced as the Texas coach. Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? He literally took the job that almost everything that he said is the worst thing that you could say. You could alter what you said just a little bit. That's unfair to talk about something like that. Imagine, Bobby, currently in coaching negotiations with Texas, you're like, it's super unfair to ask me about something that's definitely of interest to me. Like it was a very silly thing. I think he said once he got hired or whatever, he asked a question that was an obvious question. I wish I would have answered it better, but in the moment, all 30 minutes after the last pitch, all I could think about was our players, and I really wasn't in the mood to talk about myself for the future. So you don't think it was more embarrassing for them that, I don't know, you made it like a little spectacle to me, dude. That was silly. What a joke.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try and find it's on Twitter, so it's a screenshot of the article. I don't have time to type it in because his name is a mile long. But here's a quote from 2021, or when asked about leaving TCU for A&M. His quote is, "I have no interest in any other job."
So
right before leaving TCU to go to
So
A&M.
he basically told, well, okay. So, but see, at least in this one, he didn't say he was going to stay at this job forever. He's just said, hey, look at me, buddy. I have no interest in the Texas A&M job. I'm just going to take it. I'm not interested in it. I just now work there. It's a job for me, partner. I'm not interested in this job. It's a job. So like, at least in that one, he could swing it that way. But he went on a very lively rant to not only say that he wasn't interested, but to harass the guy that asked it. Obvious question that would have been news. So he's in for it. So when he says,
So there's going to be a lot more that comes out about this because there is already a investigation for breach of fiduciary duty because multiple former A&M players have come out and said that they have evidence that Schlossnagle or whatever Schlossnagle was recruiting kids to Texas while playing in the national championship series.
Maybe coach him up a little bit and you would have been winning the title. You know? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. As well as multiple articles as well going into former players and players that have just ended their season when asked about it, saying that he is the least respectful person on the field, that he treats kids absolutely horrible. So yeah, if you're gonna break the rules, maybe don't be a dick to your players and give them a reason to then come out and turn state witness on you, man.
Right? Yeah, yeah. Some people just don't get it, man. Some people just don't get it. Like, if you're gonna be terrible, then make sure you do things by the book. If you're gonna do things off book, then make sure you're super cool and nobody wants to tell on you. You don't get to do things not by the book and also be a D-bag and then leave your players hanging out to dry and think they won't say anything. You're a college baseball coach, bro. You're not a mob boss. They're not scared of you. You don't even coach in the MLB. Why would I be scared of you?
Yeah.
Like, you're at the kiddie table of your profession. I still have an opportunity to go to the show. I don't know.
And let's be honest here, your title is manager, bro.
Yeah.
They have
You have to wear a jersey.
You have
to wear a jersey during the game. You have to wear a jersey during the game, dude. You don't even get to wear a different outfit. You have to wear the same outfit as everybody else.
Yeah. And honestly, let's be honest, once the game starts, what exactly is a baseball coach doing? Hey, bud, swing at that ball. Like, man, I know how to play baseball.
It's like, hey,
hit the ball, catch the ball.
Hey, next time it's not good to strike out. Oh, thanks, baseball coach. Yeah. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Hey, should I strike out?
Because at least in the NFL, you can say, yeah. Because I think in college, they don't have pinch hitters, runners, or anything like that. Or so you make the decision of when to bring another pitcher in. It's like, okay. Yeah. Like, your responsibility is literally calling a kid from the other side.
They got metal bats. Your job is done for you, dude. Your job is done for you.
Yeah. But now I will say that there are some other reports of from now this is not nearly as corroborated, but a rumor's a rumor. I'm gonna bring it up. This is someone who used to play at A&M and said that they have inside knowledge from both the A&M, Georgia, Vanderbilt, and Tennessee, that all of those schools, but specifically Tennessee this year, was shaving bats. I'm not sure. I know corking. I don't know what shaving bats is, as well as some possible steroid use.
Ooh, nice.
And
again, you know my thought process on it.
So
on steroid use, Bobby.
They said that this has been happening. 100%. I'm just reporting.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was just making sure we all knew.
This has been happening. This has been a rampant thing. Yeah, this has been a rampant thing in the SEC baseball for the last 5 years, and I would be interested to go back and look at the stats of when the SEC
it was like the
started
SEC
in baseball, because I have a feeling it might be about 5 years ago.
It was like they restarted. It was like the SEC tournament again. You know, every time I look up, it's 2 SEC teams playing in the College World Series. I'm like, what is happening here? But yeah, you know my thought process on steroids in baseball, Bobby. Mandatory. So I'm good with it. Mandatory steroids. And college baseball already has metal bats, so they already are halfway through what I think should happen. So maybe I'm a college baseball fan.
I still think also I've been thinking, because, and maybe while we're on this weekend, we can brainstorm something. I hate pop flies. It's a boring part of the sport when a pop fly goes up, and you know, there's a 0.1% chance that there's going to be an error, but it's like, okay, what are we doing here?
No,
hear me out.
100% disagree.
During a pop fly, have lions under that pop up, and you have to avoid a lion and catch the ball.
No, I will tell you this.
It can be a different animal.
I will tell you this. Diving catches is one of my favorite pastimes. Watching great baseball catches.
No, I'm not talking about. No, I'm not.
You only get them pop-ups.
Diving is different.
But that's a pop-up, though. That's what you're saying. You're trying to do.
I'm talking about like when you get under it, when you get up, like there's been like a diving catch, like, and when it goes up, or like when it's close to being like isn't it like something in baseball where if it's too high, it's an automatic out or something like that?
You're like thinking about the no, it's not too high. You're thinking about the infield fly rule. It's when you have it's so you can't drop the ball on purpose and create a triple play or double play. Like you got a runner on first and the ball goes up really high. Well, that runner on first isn't going to run because he expects you to catch it. But then all you have to do is drop it and then get a double play, because then it's a double force out.
Okay.
And so they just say, you're out. It was an infield fly rule. It's a weird rule, no doubt.
One thing
no
I will
doubt.
say, and then we'll move on, because
Yes.
one thing I will say, and this is a little embarrassing. My dogs are barking, so we'll get through this and we'll get into what's snapping your stick.
Okay.
I embarrass myself a little bit, but not too much, because I can take embarrassment of like this kind. But and it's baseball, so I don't care. It's baseball, Greg. We were talking about the top, a ground rule double, and I said, yeah. I mean, also, because my wife was asking, and I was like, yeah. And I think like if it bounces twice, you get to go to third base. It's a ground rule triple. And Brett was like, that's not a thing. I'm like, are you sure? I'm pretty sure it's a thing.
Yep.
I looked it up. That was the rule in backyard baseball. That was backyard baseball. That was but in my head that was a real rule.
Well, your favorite. Let's be fair, Bobby. You were just talking about your favorite version of baseball, not what was currently playing.
The real baseball.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll give that to you. Embarrassing, sure, but mostly just because it was in front of your father-in-law. He's like, wow, Bobby's not a man. Obviously, he doesn't know.
But at least he knows. At least he knows I hate baseball, so he wasn't too surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but
that's
It could have been worse. There are worse things I could have gotten wrong.
Sure. Oh,
like,
absolutely.
That's not knowing, like, baseball's filled with obscure rules. Everyone's gonna get wrong once. Wrong.
Yeah, like it would have been way worse if you're like,
what snap? Oh.
If you would have said, "Oh, do people that bat left-handed have to run to third first?"
Also, great rule. I love that rule. Want
Just
that?
mixing it up.
I want to see that in action.
Crossing bats.
Yeah. Yeah. But all right, let's move into what's snapping your stick.
Bobby and Brandon are about to find out exactly what snaps their sticks.
All right, so this one's got me riled up. Okay. So yesterday, after this heat wave we had, and after it's going to probably, I think, come back for a couple more days, we had a little bit of a storm in Shelbyville. Not much of one, no thunder or lightning, but about, I don't know, maybe 45 seconds of severe wind. So much so that I was on the toilet, I looked out my window, and I thought, we might have a tornado. Like, it was loud, and the whole house shook for a second. I was like, I'm gonna die taking a shit, and that's gonna not be great. But at least I'll go down like the greats, like Elvis. But I heard a bunch of some gutters fell off. I got up, and I noticed, I looked outside, and the internet wire, my fiber wire that's connected to the house up over to the pole across the street, is now laying across my yard and in the road, still connected to the house. So my internet's working, but it's now it's throughout my front yard, and it's like on starts going up about halfway through the road. So if somebody's driving, they're gonna hit that and snag that cord. Right. So I luckily told Meg, this is why I allegedly stole a cone all those years ago. I have a nice neon orange cone that I can put for the community safety.
Safety.
Called the non-emergency number, reported it. The guy was like real fucking rude. Like, yep, we have them all down all the time. I'm like, cool, I'm just letting you know, like, it's laying on the road. It's a safety hazard.
So this
like,
one's
okay, sir, we hear you. I'm like, okay, just letting you know.
Right.
But
you didn't give me a lot of information that my information got to you, and you were good with it. Like, okay, yeah, we'll get it on the list, and we'll get to it when we can get to it. All you got to do is say is that. I don't need like explanations or anything, but also just saying, gotcha. All right, cool. Like, okay, but is any of it resonating? Because all you said is gotcha.
Did I call the right number?
Like, right. Yeah. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So anyway, wake up this morning, and now this was at 9 a.m. yesterday on a weekday. Now he said, cool, we'll probably get someone out there in a couple hours to fix that. I'm like, cool. Perfect. No one comes by then. I get it. Cool. We had a storm, probably others down. No big deal. Wake up this morning, no internet. Look out. The wire is just on the road, no longer connected to my house. And not just that, the box that it was hooked up to is, the box is off the house. And so I'm like, shit. Now, and then I'm like, all right, and now there was something on my front door that said, this for the Duck River Electrical Company, let you know we took care of your issue. How did you run over
ripped
it?
it down.
Because
they
my
ripped it down. They thought that you were saying it's in the road and it's in my way, and now rip it out completely so it's not harming anybody.
Okay, and so I call now. I got to be honest. I assumed that because the way it was set up was that on both ends there was a bunch of extra slack of wire.
Sure.
And it's set up, at least on my end of the house, where you could roll it up to tighten it.
Right.
To make it no longer dragging. Nah, they just yanked it and destroyed the cord. Get AT&T. AT&T guy, awesome. AT&T's like, answers and no wait. Call them. They get on the phone with me. They're like, yes, sir.
AT&T
Mr. Butler,
fiber.
and also perfect English.
They freaking kill. AT&T, they
get
care
a guy
about you if you got AT&T fiber. No doubt, bro. I wish I still had the opportunity to get
I called them at 8 a.m. They tell me they will have a guy out here at between 12 and 4. At 10:30, AT&T calls me. The guy's like, the technician's like, hey, I'm in your area. Is it cool if I'm early? I'm like, hell yeah, man. Come on. Thank you so much. Comes out, looks at it. He's like, oh, man. He tells me that obviously no cost to me, but they're going to be fining Duck River a bunch of money
for messing with their stuff.
Screwed things up.
Yeah.
He was like, they should not have cut this. Also, they damaged the box because they didn't just take a wire splicer and cut it. It looks like they were up on one side on a ladder and didn't want to get down but up a ladder, so they just yanked it as hard as they could and pulled it off the wall and straight up destroyed the box.
Honestly, I don't think this sounds like you and the guy you called. Sounds like he was beefing and he put a few notes in that on that work order. He's like, hey.
Yeah. Well,
no
Duck River making my life harder because the guy even, well, because honestly, and you know what? This is a 2-for-1. You know what maybe bugs me even more? I woke up, I'm on my dead period, I'm on my summer break. I wanted to play Lego Star Wars, man, the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
A single player game with no DLC.
And you can't play it.
And I couldn't play it because I didn't have internet.
Like,
what is the point of me owning the game, bro?
Oh, I know, dude. It's so dumb.
I had to turn on my hotspot, and that was a whole ordeal.
It's a deal. Yeah.
Like,
bro,
that.
So I will tell you, it is
so really
thing,
online only games is bigger.
I have the Verizon mobile internet, so it hooks up to nothing. I went to the Verizon store, I picked up this box, I came in, I plugged it in, and that's it. That's all I had to do. I do like that.
Nice.
I do like that. Okay,
if we lived in the city, that would work, but unfortunately, mine that goes.
You
off
would be
like,
surprised.
We don't have good cell service around here.
You would be surprised, Bubby.
Really?
You would be surprised. Yeah, go talk to them, either them or T-Mobile. Yeah, I would. I mean, I'm not in like the greatest. I'm not in like right downtown or anything for sure. So, okay, mine is just real quick. What is worse than being lied to? I mean, I don't really care. Lie to me, don't lie to me. I don't really mind one way or the other. But what I do mind is when you tell me a terrible lie that's obviously a lie, because that means one of two things. Either you think that I'm stupid and I'm not going to be able to decipher what your crack mind came up with, or you don't respect me and don't care if I realize that you're lying to you. So it's not the lie, Bobby. It's the such a terrible lie, a verifiable lie on the other side of things. And it's like, you're just going to lie to me. So, you don't respect me or you think I'm stupid, and both are not good options. I would prefer probably the don't respect me, but then you could just tell the truth. You don't have to lie to me. I mean, I don't care. So that's mine. Just a real quick, like I said.
Oh, is there a specific story about this, or is this something you got to tell me off air?
Yeah, probably. I mean, nothing specific, but I mean, I got, something that came to mind for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if something prompted this today.
No.
But just, all right. But all right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. It was a absolutely fantastic NHL season, and thank you for sharing it with us. We cannot wait for next year to share with you another NHL season. For Pucks Out Podcast and for Brandon Bond, I'm Bobby. It has been awesome. We will see you all again next time.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Pucks Out Podcast. To see what other ridiculousness the guys are up to, check them out on Twitter and Instagram @PucksOutPod.